If you are trying to get the most out of your overall dieting routine, you are in the right place. We are going to talk about 7 proven dieting habits that individuals who are lean use literally year-round to make weight loss and dieting effortless. So make sure to stay all the way until the end of the video for that, because we are going to give some good action-packed tips that you can implement to make weight loss seem like it's nothing special, right? It seems like for a lot of these skinny individuals that they can basically maintain weight loss super easily, and for a lot of them they can, and it's because they use some of these really good habits and stick with them for a very long period of time. So go ahead and give this video a like, and let's jump right in to the first habit that individuals often use, and this is eating protein and veggies first in their meals. So you might be thinking, okay, I know protein and veggies are good for me, right? You know, my mom always told me, you know, eat your veggies, but when it comes to dieting, why would eating our protein and veggies first in our meals actually help us to lose weight and maintain weight overall? So protein, the thing about protein is it is extremely high in satiety. So when we talk about satiety, satiety essentially means that it allows you to feel full. It's a fancy word for the feeling of fullness. So protein, when you eat it, it makes you feel extremely full compared to other different foods. Typically protein as well is usually a quote-unquote clean source of food. So when we look at carbs, for example, a lot of times people, when they're eating carbs and they're just told to, hey, go eat some carbs, you're usually steered towards the kind of processed carbs. Maybe it's cookies, maybe it's crackers, maybe it's even really highly processed cereals, certain types of bread like white bread. It's a lot easier if you're telling somebody to just simply eat protein, that they're going to eat more clean, more whole foods, versus carbs, on the other hand, are typically a lot of the times more processed. And when it comes to those processed foods, those are not high satiety at all. The other great thing about protein first, and just protein in general, is that it can help build muscle. And muscle is so crucial and so important in weight loss, and people don't often realize this. And the reason why it's so important is because when we build muscle, that muscle is metabolically active at rest. So what this means is that your body is actually burning more calories at rest doing absolutely nothing. Versus if you're somebody who just goes and does a treadmill for, you know, an hour at the gym, guess what? After you get off that treadmill, you're not going to be burning any more calories, right? It just completely ends. If you are somebody, on the other hand, who is building muscle and lifting some weights to build some muscle, and then using protein to help actually recover and literally build the muscle, you're going to be burning calories at rest. You are going to become a fat burning machine simply from sitting and doing nothing. Obviously, you got to do the work. You got to eat some protein to build the muscle and stuff, but protein and veggies, that's why protein is great first. On the flip side, when you're eating your meals, maybe you're not able to eat protein first, but eating veggies first is still a good option. So veggies are very high in fiber, and fiber is extremely satiating. So as we just talked about with protein, protein doesn't have actual fiber particularly, but protein is, veggies are still very high in fiber. So even though protein and veggies, they don't have the same macronutrient content, right? Veggies are usually high in fiber and high in carbs, and protein is, well, very high in protein, of course, right? they're still both very satiating. They're both very satiating. So when it comes to losing weight, both of them together in tandem makes a very potent and very effective weight loss tool if you're pairing them together in your meals. But if you only have one or the other, of course you can just do veggies, just do protein, but both of them together, super good hack to make weight loss really, really easy for yourself. Another great thing about the thing with, with eating veggies is that they help your heart health, and they also help you to get more micronutrients in. A lot of us are very deficient on micronutrients, and a lot of micronutrients actually can help with energy metabolism and keeping us feel more energetic, helping repair systems in the body, and all that stuff is extremely crucial when we're talking about lasting weight loss, right? So having those two first in your meals, or just in general when you're eating foods, snacks, periods, etc., are great. Both of them slow gastric emptying, so this also limits blood sugar spiking and keeps you fuller longer. Blood sugar spiking, we don't want to spike our blood sugar a lot throughout the day, because that leads to energy fluctuations, that leads us to craving different foods, and it's ultimately not the best thing as well. So the thing about both these foods too is, since they are very highly satiating, they're very hard to overeat. How many times have you said to yourself, I'm going to eat a huge bowl of broccoli and a huge bowl of chicken? Probably never, because you know you're not going to finish it, right? So very high in satiety, makes you feel full for a super long time. When it comes to preparing these foods, a lot of people are like, oh, they taste awful, I don't like the taste of them, they're bland, etc. You can add some seasonings to them. You can add a little bit of spray butter. There's a lot of 0 calorie or low calorie sauces out there that you can toss on these things too, like mustard, some 0 calorie barbecue sauce as well. I like doing those with both protein and veggies. And then of course making them in bulk is a super good idea. So you can toss them all in a crock pot, in the oven. Air fryer is really good, or the grill at the beginning of the week. Make a bunch for the week, because then you don't even have to worry about it, right? You don't even have to worry about it. You're good to go, and you got your protein and veggies for the week, which is going to help you to lose weight super easily. And another thing to consider too is this idea of frozen versus fresh. So if you're preparing food, ideally you'd get it fresh. But for the most part, what I want people to realize is that it does not really matter in the grand scheme of things. Frozen food is still very highly nutritious, and for the most part, if you are getting frozen food versus fresh food, you're still going to be getting basically all the nutrients of if you were just getting fresh. So don't really overthink it too much, right? You're getting vegetables, and if you're getting good vegetables, if you're getting a decent amount of vegetables, especially, or chicken, I guess this could be the same for meat as well, you're going to be good to go. And then the biggest hack that you can do to make this weight loss journey the easiest for yourself is simply pick foods you enjoy and double down on the ones you eat. You don't need to eat Brussels sprouts. You don't need to eat broccoli. You don't even need to eat chicken breast, but you should find ones that you specifically enjoy and that you can specifically eat in large quantities. I never force myself. Let's think of something. I don't really like steak a lot. I do enjoy steak, but it's not my favorite. I like chicken more. So I eat chicken a lot more when it comes to protein sources. In addition to that, let's think about vegetables. So mushrooms. I do like mushrooms. They're not my favorite though. Instead, I really enjoy broccoli. So I eat a lot of that stuff instead. And that's one of the big things when it comes to losing weight too, is finding foods that you enjoy and can eat for a long period of time as well. Those are just a few ideas of different ways you can do it. Go ahead and give this video a like if that gave you some good value so far. And let's go ahead and dive in to our next habit. So the next habit that all individuals do when trying to lose a bunch of weight, and ultimately all skinny people do this, is they restrict their food to some degree. Now, food restriction is super important, and we need to talk about why this is. Because when you understand why you need to restrict food, and basically this is a really big hack because it'll immediately show you that, hey, there's nothing magic about this. There's nothing magic that these skinny people are doing. We just need to restrict. We need to restrict our food in some capacity. That's the tough part about this. So why must we restrict food? So weight loss occurs through a calorie deficit. Simply meaning you need to eat less calories per day than your body burns to, of course, lose weight. So if you are somebody who, let's say, for example, it takes 2,500 calories to maintain your overall weight, you must restrict. You must eat below that amount of calories, below your maintenance. So just a little bit. It could be 200, it could be 300. A lot of times people will do 500 calories. You just need to eat a little bit below your maintenance calories and you will lose weight. That's all it is. So when we talk about restriction, there's a lot of different ways to do this. All diets will essentially work because all diets restrict in some capacity. This could be intermittent fasting where you're not eating for the first few hours of the day, right? This could be just calorie counting where you're meticulously saying, I'm going to eat 500 calories for my lunch, I'm going to eat 700 calories for my dinner, I'm going to have 300 calories for my snack, and boom, at the end of the day. That's still restriction. Keto. Keto is usually a very low carb diet with a lot of animal fats and animal proteins. This works because it's eliminating a food group. And when you eliminate food groups, specifically usually stuff that's higher in carb, guess what? You are going to eat less calories. Vegan, no different. Vegan, you are cutting out a lot of protein and high-fat animal sources. When you do those high-fat sources and you cut them out, guess what? You're going to cut back a bunch of calories. Weight Watchers, same thing. You're counting quote-unquote points. Points are the same thing as calories. They're all just energy. It's a good marketing tool, but at the end of the day, all of these diets have in common that they restrict in some capacity. So the name of the game here is to find different restrictions that work for you. Now, some of these different diets work better for others. Some of them have specific food restrictions, as we talked about. Some of them just have times of food you can't eat them. And some of them have just complete food groups restricted altogether. So it's really, again, about finding the one that works the best for you. I personally do intermittent fasting because I am not really hungry when I first wake up. And then, of course, after this, after I just keep eating for a little bit or don't eat for a little bit, I get a little bit hungry and I eat later in the day. That's a form of restriction. I'm not eating breakfast. And because I'm not eating breakfast, I'm cutting out the calories from breakfast. Yeah, I do eat, of course, at some point in the day. But if I was, just doing calorie counting and not eating, eating in the morning instead, I would just say 500 calories for breakfast, 700 calories for lunch, maybe 800 calories for dinner. At the end of the day, it's all the same thing. So restriction when dieting is super important. Finding ones for yourself that give you the best results is what's going to work the best. So go ahead and drop a comment down below to let me know what your current dieting habits are. If you're following a strict diet, if you are just kind of going with the flow, doing what you enjoy in your diet, let me know what you enjoy doing with your diet. I enjoy intermittent fasting. That's kind of the thing that I do. It makes it easier for me. And then, of course, just eating generally healthy as well. Okay, so the next habit that all skinny people do and all lean people do to help them keep themselves lean year-round is eating what we call low-calorie, high-volume foods. This is by far one of my favorite hacks for losing weight and making weight loss sustainable, right? We don't want to lose weight for a short period of time. We want to lose weight for literally the rest of our lives. We want to be lean, we want to feel good, and low calorie, high volume foods will easily allow you to do that. So let's talk about why these specific types of food work for weight loss and keeping you lean. So there is a low amount of energy in these foods, right? We just talked about low calorie. Calories are essentially a form of energy, right? The more calories we eat, the more energy our body gets. Unfortunately, if we eat too much energy, have too many calories, that excess energy gets stored as body fat. So when we're talking about low calorie foods, we're specifically picking foods that are a little bit lower in energy. So that's the step one. We need foods that are really lower in energy. But we also need foods that are very high in volume too. Now, high in volume simply means that they can fill us up. They're high in satiety. They make us feel full for long periods of time, right? So when we pick foods that are lower in calorie, they don't have that much energy, right? And they make us feel full quicker. Does that not sound like the perfect recipe for making weight loss super, super easy? Well, that's exactly what most people do, and I myself personally do as well. That helps me stay very, very lean. So an example of a low calorie, high volume food would be a salad with a lot of protein and veggies. Salad, just in general, has a very low amount of calories. Veggies, very low amount of calories. Protein even, for the most part, has very low amount of calories. But think about it. The amount of fullness, the amount of volume you get from eating that much food, you might only be consuming 200, 300, 400 calories in that huge giant salad, especially if you're really light with the dressing. And you're going to feel so full that you might not even want to eat again for the rest of the day. Now, this is just one example of them, but lean protein and veggies when paired together in multiple variations, maybe you're making fajitas, maybe you're just doing regular, let's just say chicken and veggies. I do that a lot. I actually get whole chickens from Costco. They're $5, super cheap there. I think Sam's Club is pretty cheap too. So if you do have memberships to either of those, very good ideas to get some very cheap protein, low calorie, high volume foods. And then of course too, you might be thinking, okay, I don't want to eat that all the time. So when it comes to snacks too, popcorn is very, very low in calories and high volume. This is of course assuming you don't add in a bunch of extra butter to it too. If you do add in a bunch of extra butter, that is going to make it a lot more calorie dense and not really make it quite that low calorie, high volume food we look for. I also like sugar-free puddings and sugar-free Jello too. Those are really, really low in calorie, but when you eat a little bit of them, they're going to fill you up. They're very high in volume. A good hack when thinking about high volume foods that are also low in calorie is to try to find things that are the most full of water. So anything high in water, this is of course fruits and vegetables. Lean meats are very high in water because meat is literally muscle and muscle is very high in water. Some of those sugar-free options usually are very high in water. You need water in pudding and water in Jello, right, to make it. Basically, the more water, the better. Of course, you could just drink some extra water before your meals too. That's going to help as well. So why do these specific foods work really, really well to get us to a calorie deficit? Of course, we talked about these are extremely hard to overeat. Now, the last time I made one of these huge salads, I actually made it in conjunction with another meal. I like eating a lot of food with my meals, so I usually have to take a break when I'm eating these really low calorie, high volume foods, like those huge salads with protein, and I sometimes don't even get to my main course, right? So the really cool thing about this is that it can often lead to you losing weight without counting calories, because you a lot of times are just innately eating less because the food is so low in calories anyway and so high in volume, you just don't even want to eat more, right? So let's take a look at some of the opposite foods on the opposite spectrum of this that can give you some good insight into what you should try to avoid, or at least moderate in a very small number. So the opposite types of foods are going to, of course, be high in calories and low in overall volume. So something like fried chicken, super high in calories, but you might only be getting a little bit of piece of chicken for what, 400 calories? Okay, let's look at Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts are a great example of an opposite food because one Pop-Tart, just one square, is 200 calories. You know, if you eat an actual package of Pop-Tarts, that's 400 calories. And I eat a package of Pop-Tarts at 400 calories and I literally feel zero fullness. I feel like I could eat an entire box of Pop-Tarts. So that's a great example of a food that is high calorie, low in volume. Sugary drinks, of course, like sodas. You could drink one of those and guess what? You're set back 140 calories and you basically didn't even take in anything. Your body's like, oh, just a little bit of liquid, right? It doesn't satisfy you at all. And that's a super huge problem when we're trying to lose weight. Sandwiches too, this is just another example. Sandwiches are casserole dishes with a lot of sauces or lots of extra cheese or high fat options. All of these things should be eaten in severe moderation. Of course, realizing you can eat them, but it's going to leave a huge dent in your calories for the day. And once you leave that huge dent in the calories for the day, you're going to be sitting and suffering because you ate all the amount of calories you need. Maybe, 2,500 calories is your goal for the day. And if you ate all of that up by lunchtime, guess what? You're going to be waiting the entire rest of the day and you're not going to be able to eat anything else. So some things to consider, but those low calorie, high volume foods are an incredibly potent way to make weight loss super, super easy. Go ahead and give this video a like so far if you're getting some good value from it. And let's dive into that next habit. So this next habit's also super crucial to allow you to lose weight extremely effortlessly. So let's talk about liquid calories when it comes to dieting. Now, liquid calories are going to be something that you ultimately want to really, really lower, or at least in my eyes, I usually tell people to completely get rid of them. And you're probably thinking, Logan, why are liquid calories so bad? Well, let's talk about the exact mechanism behind this. So the thing with liquid calories is that there is a large amount of calories just in the liquid in itself, right? And when we're talking about this large amount of calories in liquid form, usually there is very little nutrients. So there's very little fiber, there's very little protein, there's very little micronutrients like vitamins and minerals in these liquid calories. So you're getting a large amount of energy, but you're not getting a large amount of overall good nutrients that your body can use to help rebuild, to help repair, and to give you good long-lasting energy throughout the day. So that's one of the big crucial things with a lot of these liquid calories. And another huge problem with liquid calories is that they just don't help with fullness at all. Again, since we just talked about there's no fiber in them, there's no protein in them, guess what? You're not going to feel full after you drink that can of soda. You're not going to feel full after you drink that glass of orange juice. You're not going to feel full after you have maybe some wine or a little bit of alcohol. I know alcohol sits a little bit heavier in people, but still, you're not going to be nearly as satisfied as if you, let's say, ate an orange, for example, or if you maybe just had, I don't know, a piece of bread with some peanut butter on it, right? because there is zero fiber, zero protein, zero of the things that make you feel full. So it may seem like the calories don't count, right, when you drink it. And basically, the calories just aren't registering to your body. So because of this, your body is going to eat and drink more on top of what you already drank, simply because it's thinking, oh, I didn't get anything from this. It tasted sweet, that's good, but it's just a drink, it's just a drink. It's not really keeping me full. So of course, then you're going to be wanting to eat more sugary stuff. You're going to be wanting to drink even more sugary drinks simply because of this. And it's a never-ending feedback loop that unfortunately leads a lot of people to weight loss failure long term. And I think another huge kind of elephant in the room when it comes to liquid calories is that most people just simply don't count them. I know myself personally, when I first started in my health and fitness journey, I would drink a lot of Powerade, full sugar Powerade or Gatorade. And when I did this, I didn't even really think about the drink as being calories. I didn't even think about it being as part of my meal. Even though there's like sometimes 200 to 300 calories, depending on how much I'm drinking, just in those pieces of liquid, right? Just in those pieces of liquid. So most people don't count them because they don't even think about it. They don't think about it as being part of their meal. But unfortunately, for these liquid calories, you need to be thinking about them as being part of your meal, overall calories, especially if you're trying to lose weight or even maintain weight. Or even gain weight, right? When you're looking at your overall calorie intake, calories from liquid are literally the same as calories from food when it comes to maintaining your weight. So there's no difference. I will say though, of course, as we just discussed, they don't have nearly as much overall nutrients, so you're not going to feel as energetic. But when it comes to packing on the pounds, they can do that very, very well. The other huge problem with liquid calories, and specifically stuff like sodas and maybe high sugar alcohols or just even normal alcohols, is that they're usually paired with unhealthy food. A burger, fries, and a full sugar Coke are usually one of the highest rated things in a diner, or when you go to McDonald's, for example. A lot of people are going to get that full sugar Coke, right? Maybe margaritas and tacos. Yeah, it's Taco Tuesday. Let me get one of those huge bowl of margarita bowls, right? Lots of sugar, lots of extra calories in that overall thing. Again, you're just simply eating the unhealthier food, right? And tacos aren't terribly bad, but a lot of times at restaurants they're a little bit more fatty. But you're pairing them together, and that's going to lead to a lot more extra unnecessary calories. And then, of course, last one, it's summertime where I am, or getting near summertime where I am. Beer and cookouts, alcohol and cookouts, alcohol and all that unhealthy food. So we got the chips and dip, we got high-fat meats, high-fat burgers and cheese, and I'm actually kind of salivating thinking about it right now. It sounds pretty good. But I know that I can't eat that stuff all the time, otherwise I'm going to be, of course, a train wreck when it comes to my body composition and overall feelings of vigor and energy. So just some more liquid calorie examples for you. Alcohol, lemonade, sodas. Diet sodas are a good option if you do want to pivot. Juices, people think juices are extremely good and extremely healthy for you. They're not. They're not at all, simply because all of that fiber that is taken from the orange, from the apple, from the juice that you're drinking is extracted. So you're getting all the sugar with zero of the fiber, right? All the sugar from the fruit, all the fructose with zero of the fiber. So the fiber usually buffers that fructose and buffers the blood sugar spike. But when you're just drinking straight up fruit juice, you're getting that blood sugar spike basically straight into your body, which is of course not good for regulating your hunger hormones, and chronically elevated blood sugar leads to, of course, insulin resistance and diabetes, which is not good at all. Energy drinks as well. If you're not getting diet energy drinks, there's a lot of liquid calories in like Rockstar, Monsters, all those different things. So just beware on that as well. And then I am going to add smoothies to this, and smoothies aren't all bad inherently. You can actually get some smoothies that have some pretty good nutrients and are very filling. The smoothies that I make, or the shakes that I make, will have a little bit of protein powder in them, and maybe they'll have some oats. Sometimes I'll add a pinch of peanut butter. And then of course adding a little bit of milk. All of these kind of culminate to liquid calories, but since it's a lot thicker and all of these things have good nutrients when added together, it's not going to lead such as big of a dent on your overall calories than if I was just drinking straight fruit juice, for example. And we just dived into fruit juice and why that's not really a good option for you as well. So go ahead and give this video a like if it's given you some good value so far. And let's keep moving. So we've looked at a lot of good habits so far, but there's still a few more habits that you need to be implementing to make sure your weight loss is successful, make sure it is long-term, and make sure it is something where ultimately you are able to be fit for the entire year, all the way year-round. So another habit that people who are very lean and very skinny, a lot of the times, do is that they prioritize sleep. So prioritizing sleep is so crucial when it comes to weight loss. So crucial when it comes to weight loss, and not even just weight loss, just being healthy in general, but in this exact aspect, we're going to talk about weight loss. So appropriate sleep habits really help you to maintain your energy throughout the day. And if you have good energy, if you have good cognition, if you are able to think extremely well, guess what? You're going to be able to make better health decisions throughout the day. You are going to be able to work out and have a really strong and effective overall fitness regime that day. You are going to just feel so much better and so much more mentally strong and mentally clear to allow yourselves to be the healthiest version of yourself. If you get poor sleep, how many times when you're going to get breakfast or a lunch, the first thing you grab is something bad? You know, you grab that sugary drink or that sugary muffin because it looks good, right? Oh, I'm sleep deprived, and ooh, I just really want that sugary good, that Pop-Tart, for example, right, for breakfast. So not only your cognition goes down, but on top of that, when you sleep very, very poorly, you crave and you have so much hunger for specific foods. So that's why getting good sleep is really, really crucial, because it offsets this. So by getting that crucial sleep, getting at least 7 hours minimum, 7 to 9 hours, we'll talk a little bit more on the end of this section about some good sleep hygiene tips. But once you get that recommended value, you are going to be able to limit your hunger cravings, and not even just the cravings. So the hunger is one thing. Hunger is physiological. That's telling your body you need stuff. Craving is more of just, ooh, I'm salivating because that sounds good. So if you are sleep deprived, again, you are going to be going towards those worst options. You're not going to be thinking quite as well. And both of these are a never-ending feedback loop, because if you are going to be not making good decisions and eating those bad foods, the second you eat those bad foods, you're going to be craving them even more. Guess what? You're not going to have as much energy throughout the day. You're going to be more tired at night. And hopefully you'll get good sleep, but a lot of times people, their sleep's dysregulated. So then it leads to this never-ending feedback loop, unfortunately, of people getting bad sleep and then craving bad food. Another huge thing that sleep helps with when it comes to weight loss success is it helps to regulate your hormones. So your insulin sensitivity improves. And when your insulin sensitivity improves, this is great, because this is one of the things that can really help to regulate your overall feelings of hunger and energy throughout the day. If you are very insulin sensitive, your body is able to use a tiny bit of insulin to basically regulate any blood sugar brought into your body. And that's a great thing, because if you think about it, you don't want a huge amount of insulin being spiked, because that's a large stress on your system and can lead you to, of course, being tired and run down the road. Your hunger hormones are also regulated much better if you're getting that proper sleep. So as we just discussed before, there's a huge correlation with sleeping poorly and being very hungry. And this is due to two hormones. There's a lot of hormones, but we're going to talk about two today. These ones are the most important and ones that you can kind of take into your life and think about. The two hormones are ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. And the way you can think about this is ghrelin is kind of like growling. So when you sleep poorly, your ghrelin hormone increases. So that's the hormone that tells you I'm hungry, I'm growling, right? Your leptin hormone is your satiety hormone. Your satiety is essentially your ability to feel full. This goes down when you get poor sleep. So you're probably thinking, geez Louise, Logan, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. My hunger hormone's going up and my fullness hormone is going down. Yeah, it is a complete disaster. And if any more reason for you to get proper sleep is that you will be craving less and less hungry for those unhealthy foods, I don't know what better sales pitch to give you. So on top of that, of course, getting proper sleep can help with overall recovery, not just from the life stresses, so you're able to cope better and make better health decisions, but also your workout stress too, right? You're pushing yourselves in your workout. You are trying to be getting the most benefits from that overall routine. And if you're not giving yourself the proper time to recover and sleep well, you're not going to be able to rebuild and adapt your overall body. And if you're not rebuilding and adapting, you're doing the complete opposite. You're running yourself down. You're not recovering. You are not becoming the fittest version of yourself. And the fittest version of yourself, usually, for a lot of people, means a good body composition. So when it comes to overall sleep hygiene tips, a few things that you can do, and some of these you probably do, hopefully, maybe you don't. It's a good time to reassess your sleep hygiene routine. So calming activity before bed. This could be journaling, this could be meditating, this could be reading. Maybe you're just talking to your loved one or talking to somebody on the phone. Not somebody who will stress you out, of course. Somebody who will make you feel good, make you feel light, make you feel energetic, and make you feel like you have power to take on the rest of the day. So pick a calming activity for yourself. That's a good idea. I like reading. I have a timer on my sleep clock. It's actually basically 30 minutes before I go to bed. I hit this button and it turns a big bright light in my room, and then it slowly dims over the next 30 minutes. So I read, and then once it gets dark enough, I just shut it off. Well, it actually shuts off completely, but then I just quit reading, right? Calming activity is super helpful to calm down your central nervous system. Let's talk about the big bad wolf in the room, caffeine and alcohol. So caffeine and alcohol are dangerous for your sleep. And a lot of people will drink maybe a little bit of caffeine, maybe they'll have some coffee, or they'll have some alcohol before bed, and they'll think, oh, I can sleep completely fine. And the thing about this is that may be sort of true. You may be able to fall asleep fine, but your sleep quality is greatly decreased. The overall, different stages. So there's REM, deep sleep. These get disrupted incredibly frequently when you're having caffeine, when you're having alcohol before bed. So you may be able to fall asleep fine, but your sleep isn't as good as if you had it without. So maybe you're like in bed for 9 hours and you're like, I got 9 hours of sleep, but you had caffeine and alcohol right before that. You might have been tossing and turning. Your body might have been having a bunch of micro awakenings where maybe you only got 5 to 6 hours of sleep. That can happen. If you're waking up and you're feeling kind of groggy, this is usually why. Exercising before bed. So this can be a good and bad. Some people actually get some good benefits from exercising before bed. They get tired and they can go right to sleep. Some people, it revs up their body too much. It revs up their sympathetic nervous system, which helps them to keep awake too much. And of course, if it is too much, that's going to be a disaster for your overall sleep. So kind of find what works for you. You could kind of do more of a soothing activity when it comes to exercise, like yoga or maybe just a light walk. Occasionally I like doing some light walks before bed. I don't really exercise too much before bed though, because I notice it does usually affect my overall energy and vigor. Having food before bed. So a lot of people can't handle a big meal, and a big meal might not be the best option before bed, but usually a meal that is decently high in protein, or this could even be a snack, and decently high in carbs before bed will usually help people sleep a lot better. Again, this would usually ideally be about an hour or two, so you give yourself a little bit of time to digest, and but for the most part, food, it can kind of play a decent role. And then probably one of the most important things, man, going to bed at consistent times and waking up at consistent times. And on top of that, I also want to add seeing bright light immediately after you wake up, or as close to after you wake up. So when I wake up, I have an area that I meditate in, literally right after I wake up, and it's looking straight out at the sky towards the sun. And this bright light can help to spike your cortisol right away, which can basically tell your body it's time for me to wake up. So that tells your body to wake up, but also at nighttime, since you spiked your cortisol really early in the day, that's a good thing. Your cortisol level will drop off to the appropriate amount, so you get sleepy before bed and can go to sleep better. So if you're waking up at consistent times, seeing bright light, ideally going outside to see bright light, that will help you to stay alert throughout the day, which can help you with weight loss decisions and making healthy decisions overall. But then at night, again, that cortisol is going to peak. You're going to feel sleepy at a certain time. So this only takes a few days of just consistent work at it. And the more consistent you are at it, the more your body's going to start to have that internal clock regulated super well. You're going to be feeling great. You're going to be feeling energetic, and you are going to literally regret that you didn't start doing this routine sooner. So get out, get some sunshine as early as you can, even on a cloudy day too, I should say as well. When it is cloudy, it is still emitting enough sunshine that it helps with that cortisol spike in the morning. Super important. And then also at the flip side, at night, trying to limit overall artificial light exposure as well. That all comes back in conjunction with just waking up at consistent times though. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in the sleep and weight loss area is just sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is basically where your body wakes up throughout the night because it's not getting enough oxygen, because you're literally usually choking on yourself through your neck. So usually it's for people who are very overweight. When they sleep and they kind of start snoring, they're basically not getting enough oxygen through their overall trachea windpipe to their lungs, that they have to wake themselves up. That's exactly what's happening. And when that happens with sleep apnea, you're essentially waking up so many times throughout the night, and you're basically not even having a sleep. So you might be in bed for 9 hours, and since you keep waking yourself up, you're literally never getting 9 hours of sleep. You might be getting 1 minute of sleep and then waking up, 1 minute of sleep, waking up. Many people are undiagnosed with this. So if you have anyone you know that snores, or even if yourself, you know you snore a little bit, this could be kind of an early warning sign of sleep apnea. Now, you would probably want to get a sleep test for this. But also too, something that I've been doing is using sleep strips. So these are basically little pieces of tape that go over your mouth. So then you're only breathing through your nose at night. And when you breathe through your nose, this can greatly, for a lot of people who have kind of that sleep apnea starting, or just minor sleep disturbances from choking basically on their throat, as I described earlier, this can kind of help So those are on Amazon. I think they're like $10. I got a pack for like 90 or 100 for like 10 bucks. It's worth a shot. A little awkward at first, but my sleep has greatly improved because of it as well. So that's a great habit to help you to lose weight and make weight loss ultimately effortless. So if you are trying to get the most out of your overall weight loss goals, let's talk about why water before every meal is a non-negotiable. So water helps with dehydration. Now, hunger sometimes is actually disguised as dehydration. So what I mean by this is that sometimes you will actually feel hungry when in all reality, your body is simply a little bit dehydrated. So if you go chug a bunch of water and, wait 10 minutes, for some people, I'm not saying this is every time, some people, that hunger will completely diminish. So on top of this, of course, you sometimes might just not be as hungry because your stomach is full. That could happen too. But it's really interesting that kind of in tandem, I almost call it that fake hunger that dehydration brings. Dehydration also leads to tiredness too. And when it comes to tiredness, if we're more tired, we're usually not going to be as energetic, of course, to go work out. We're not going to be as cognate to make healthy decisions when we're eating or just throughout the day. Should I go for a walk? I'm tired. Maybe if you're just a little more hydrated, you'd feel less tired. So as we just discussed too, drinking water fills your stomach up. So if your stomach is more full of water, you're going to limit your overeating because you're ultimately going to have no reason to want to eat. You're going to feel, oh, it's kind of sloshy down there, right? It's basically, I'm just not feeling like I want any food. And drinking a bunch of water right before your meals is a great way to kind of offset that overeating phenomenon that usually happens with individuals. This is something that I do before every single meal. I have a tall glass of water. Actually, I got my big guy right here. I'll take this big guy. This is about a gallon jug, half gallon. And I will chug about half that thing before I even take one bite of food. One bite of food. So already I'm priming my body. I'm hydrating it a little bit, right? I'm filling my stomach up a little bit with some water. So when I do that, I'm not going to be overeating on food. And I do overeat. I know this about myself. I have a very large appetite, and I could eat way more calories than my body needs every single day if I don't monitor it. So this is a really easy way that you can kind of cut back on your overall food. Chug a bunch of water right before your meals. Chug a bunch of water. Also, too, try to stick with water because it has 0 calories. Now, caloric drinks are super potent, I should say, in allowing individuals to gain weight. So if you think about it, if you are having maybe 2 cans of soda every single day, that could literally be 300 extra calories on top of what you normally consume in food and maybe other liquid calories than if you just drank water instead. So you might be doing the same habit where you're chugging a bunch of liquid before your meal, but if your liquid has calories in it, that might be even worse than if you just ate the food without chugging that drink. So trying to stick to 0 calorie drinks is super important because of that exact reason. Those extra calories basically aren't even really registering in your body and helping to keep you full, especially with those sodas. Man, those are diabolical, designed to make you drink more. I usually use diet sodas too, occasionally, sparingly, if I'm looking for that type of carbonated drink, if I'm in the mood for that. So let's talk about some just general takeaways from this. So before every meal, try to have 8 to 16 ounces of water. That's a small glass or a double small glass. So that's not really a lot. 8 ounces of water is not a lot. So I would just say try to double it right away. But if you don't really like the taste of water, you could try with 8 ounces at first. Just try it though. Every single meal, 8 ounces of water before, 16 ounces, maybe a little bit more. Maybe you just fill up the cup and just chug it, right? If you struggle with taste, you can try for other low or 0-calorie options like coffees, teas. I like adding drink flavorings. They have those like meal packets, or Walmart has the sugar packets, not sugar packets, they're drink flavoring packets. So there's like cherry ones, there's fruit punch. You can get them and literally pour them into your drink. They're like little particles, little bits of artificial sweetener. Those can make water taste better. Of course, diet soda, I just talked about that. And at the end of the day, just go for the chug method. Just go for the chug method. Take it back straight to the dome. Once you have that water in you, it's going to allow you to limit your overeating, which will allow you to lose weight and be fit year round. Super simple habits here. Super simple habits. Give this video a like if it's given you some good ideas. And let's dive into our last habit. So the last habit that individuals do to maintain weight loss, lasting weight loss, is be physical active. So if you're not physically active right now and you're trying to maintain weight loss or get the most out of your weight loss, you are using a huge disservice on your body. You are basically, I hate to say wasting time, but you kind of are wasting time, because this physical activity will help to boost so many aspects of your life, including overall weight loss. So the first thing that daily physical activity will do is help with your mental health. So it will boost your mood, and if your mood is boosted, you're going to have more energy, you're going to feel good, you're going to be able to make better decisions. Also, too, you might get a little bit of socialization if you're going to the gym, if you're going to a workout class, when you are out and about and doing these forms of physical activity. Both of those things are going to help your mental health. And if you have good mental health, good self-esteem, that is super important with lasting weight loss as well, because you're not going to be worried about, oh my gosh, I lost a little bit of weight here, like, oh, I'm feeling a little pudgy. No, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel elevated. You're going to feel mentally strong, right? On top of that, physical health is greatly improved. So your body's ability to manage blood sugar, your body's ability to sleep better. You can burn extra calories. You can build some muscle mass. Your joint and muscle integrity will be better. So you're going to have less joint pain, less overall pain throughout your body. You're going to be able to move better. And then, of course, physical activity also helps with hunger control as well. Your hunger hormones are going to be regulated much better. Physical activity basically is helping with all those different aspects of physical health, which, when it comes to weight loss, if you sleep better, you're going to be able to lose more weight. Of course, if you're burning more calories, you're losing more weight. If you're building muscle mass, you're going to be losing more weight so easily, right? So easily. Improved glucose management. Your body is going to be able to utilize energy more efficiently, which is going to allow you to lose weight. Now, this is where I need to kind of just cut back on my high horse here and describe exercise versus physical activity. Now, I understand that not everyone wants to go exercise every single day. That's fine. That's fine. So exercise is something that's planned and purposeful. This could be saying, I'm going to take 30 minutes to go work out at the gym right now. Physical activity is basically everything else. Physical activity is literally just moving. So the exercise could be that lifting weights, a planned bike ride, that's planned movement. But physical activity could be something like gardening, moving with a friend, right? Like helping them move boxes, or just going for a walk with them, going for a walk with your dog, just moving throughout the day period. So when I say daily physical activity, I'm literally meaning these light forms of physical activity. I'm not saying you need to go exercise every single day. But the days you aren't exercising, the days you aren't lifting weights, the days you aren't going out for a jog, the days you aren't going to your exercise class, you should still be doing something. Because as I just discussed from above, both mental health and physical health are greatly improved from these different categories. And since these different categories help with weight loss, it would behoove you to try to be as physically active every day as possible. So I'll give you an example from my life. In my life personally, how I do it is I work out 2 to 5 times a week. I have weights, I have a little bit of running. Days I'm off, days I'm quote unquote not exercising, I still try to get 10,000 plus steps a day, even when I'm not working out, right? And this is because I feel so much better on my off days if I'm still getting some physical activity. Now, 10,000 steps isn't anything magical. There isn't anything inherently, magical about 10,000 steps. It's just something easy for me to remember. And usually I end up getting more than that. Sometimes I get less, but I've been trying to not stress out as much about it. But the name of the game about this is to just doing something. So if you look at your phone right now and you notice on your pedometer that you don't have that many steps per day, on your off days from the gym, just try to get some more steps. Try to double the amount of steps you have. And I promise you, you will feel so much better throughout the day. So those are many great habits of individuals. Go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel. We help individuals of all abilities improve their overall health and knowledge of the gym. I'm going to link another video in the pinned comment that is going to show you how to calorie count like a pro. We did an entire podcast on that, so I'm going to link that down below as well. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you